UBC is produced by Backgammon Galaxy. Play among the stars. Hi there. This is the amazing team who made the UBC production that you're watching right now. You can support us by donating any amount using this QR code or the link in the description below. Donate $50 or more to get a personal shout-out later in the video by Marc Olsen. Donate $1,000 to get a shout-out and your own custom avatar on Galaxy. Thank you so much for your support. Another way to support Backgammon Galaxy is to place your sports bets on betgalaxy.net, the fastest way to build your Bitcoin bankroll while Bitcoin is skyrocketing. betgalaxy.net is a Bitcoin-only bookmaker created by the Galaxy team and accepts players worldwide. Create an account now and place your sports bets.
Welcome back, everybody, to match 7 now of the UBC finals between Hideaki Ueda, the challenger, and Masayuki Mochizuki, the current champion. We currently have, after just an absolutely wild match 6, an 8-4 lead for Hideaki. It was so hard as a commentator during that one to keep up with like what's actually going on in the whole, the finals, the big picture of it, because they got down into some time trouble, played some just absolutely crazy swinging games, jokers everywhere. Some of the most exciting backgammon that I've probably ever seen. So I'm excited to kind of talk about the impact of that now that we're halfway through the match on what's going on with Hideaki up 8-4. By the way, I'm Nick Blasier here, and I've got Marc Olsen, my co-commentator.
Hey Nick, what's up?
Hey.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, what a match we saw yesterday. Wow. I mean, not only the all the jokers and the match went back and forth and the triple back game, but also just the way they played it. They played so well, like absolute world-class backgammon. Really, really impressive to see.
Yeah, I am still trying to unpack everything that happened in that match. But what got lost in that moment too is that we have Hideaki with a 4-point lead again, and a sizable lead in the average PR. That's going to be very difficult in just 6 matches left for Mochy to recover. And it's at the point where it's, there's always going to be a distribution of matches, but I feel like Hideaki is playing like the champion right now,
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing better. He's averaging 2.9 versus Mochy's 3.3. So, I mean, he's playing basically 0.4 better in PR average so far. Obviously, we've only played 6 matches so far. We're halfway through. A lot can happen. I feel like Mochy is actually getting better and better. This is the same pattern we saw from him last year. But I'm impressed with Hideaki. He's playing like a absolute Super-Grandmaster actually. So yeah. And
we've been commenting on that as well. There's been a surprising number of times where a small mistake was just immediately punished to the maximum value that we've been seeing. I feel like that's been happening a little more to Mochy.
Yeah,
and
true.
I think there's it requires a lot of mental toughness to not change your name or your game. Sorry, when things like that start happening to you. You start seeing ghosts everywhere.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see, if that starts to impact the play. It's been a wild ride.
It has. Yeah. So now we're heading into game 7 or match 7. So it's going to be interesting to see. Mochy really needs to make a comeback. We're back to the same storyline before day 2 started. This is the third match of day 2. So Mochy is back at a 4-point deficit. So he needs to make a comeback.
Yeah. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah. Okay, let's head on over to the match.
The new 2021 Galaxy Earthboard is a tournament luxury board optimized for travel. Pre-order now. Details in the description below. Improve your backgammon skills by reading the best books on the market. Available on Amazon. Links in the description below. Get the official UBC 2020 final merchandise. All sales go to support the UBC team and volunteers.
Melbourne Backgammon International.
Here we are sitting back up at the table. I wonder how much time they had to rest after that last match. It was mentally and also just emotionally exhausting, I'm sure, for both of them. Those are tough ones to come back from.
Definitely. What an exhausting match. Even just being a commentator on the match. We were sweating out here.
Yeah.
So, let's see if they're affected by it or...
Right, yeah.
Or if they're fit.
2 more matches to play in this day. So, yeah.
Yes. Hideaki still has his Japanese traditional outfit. Different color here on day 2.
And the fan to keep him comfortable. I like it.
Yes. And Mochy is more of the Western style. Nice shirt, belt, nice pants. And we see the umpire here is wearing the Corona mask.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the Corona is going pretty poorly in Tokyo these days. They're in full lockdown, so we're actually lucky that that we get to play these matches. That's why there's no spectators on day 2. They had to shut down. They had like emergency lockdown measures from one day to another.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Okay, so we're off. Match 7 opens up with a slot 2-1 from Mochy. Very aggressive play. 6-2. That's easy to play.
Oh yeah.
One of the
It's
things.
the dream follow-up.
It is, and one of the things about making the 5-point early is that a lot of your checker plays are going to be quite easy to play.
Yeah.
And
already an advantage. I don't think it's cube territory.
No, not
He's
quite.
going to think about it though.
We're not quite there yet. Maybe if Hideaki had been on the bar. Again, an easy checker play here. Mochy is going to play aggressive.
Yeah. It's nice when the checker plays land this way, especially after an exhausting match like last one.
That's true.
Yeah. And this feels like we're going to have some market loss. And the question is more, does Hideaki have enough left to keep playing, probably this early?
Okay.
But it's tough, yeah. And he has to find the best play in order to be able to take this cube. That's fascinating.
Oh, yes.
And
this was
but he
actually a
does
blunder.
not.
Almost
Yeah.
a blunder.
Yeah, this happens a lot in these kinds of positions. I've seen that, where if you do the aggressive come out to the bar and do the contact now, you can play, but he's just going to snap it up, okay? Can't be
And
too
he
big
takes.
of a...
Fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. I don't mind the take. That's the
Yep.
4. And then the question is, do you switch and double hit on the ace point, or do you just stay pure?
I feel it, yeah, I like purity here. Wow, look how close they are, too. But it's, you know, it's so hard to give away purity when you only have 9 in the zone. I'm inclined to just kind of play it natural.
Yeah, I agree. It's but as we see, it's a very close play. There's big merits of putting 2 checkers on the roof, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah.
huge tempo gain.
Mm-hmm.
Hideaki is so far from making any kind of development in his front position or with the back checkers. When you put 2 checkers on the roof, it's a tiger play.
I think the problem with it, of course, is, you know, Hideaki rolls a 2 and you don't like having that checker there either way, right? It's either behind the anchor or it's going to get hit.
Yeah.
So it's a real liability after you place it there.
That's
for
true.
a
Yes,
lot of the
exactly.
game.
That's very true. You could say from if you look at the value equation, evaluate the 4 game plans. The game plan for Mochy here is to play prime and contact. Not so much blitz because he's simply lacking the ammunition. But you know, he sees the tactical advantages of putting 2 checkers on the roof.
Ooh, great shot from Hideaki.
It is a pretty good shot. Let's see if Mochy can respond. 2-1. So Mochy's got the rack.
Yeah.
The 4-5-6 point.
A lot of play here, and I think Mochy must need to go for flexibility, I assume, to the 22. But yeah, this is an interesting second play, the 24 and 11. I like that as well.
Yeah. I think I would have probably gone with your play as well, Nick, but now that I see it, it actually does make sense to bring a builder down, because the crucial point for Mochy here is the 7 point. If he can make the 7 point,
true.
he's going to have a pure 5 prime.
It's containment. It's a little safer to maintain your anchor, of course, too, right? It's definitely looser with those stacks of checkers to be exposed with 3 blots on your home board.
Okay.
And he plays to the 18.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. There's a strong duplication of 6s with this play, because 6s are that's the number that you come out with the back checker.
Good point. Wow, and I would struggle to see that I need to run right away in such a risky position, but he sees it right away and just, you know, gets the checker moving.
Yeah, there's not really much else to do, to be honest.
I guess very good point.
6-3 is fine. Mochy still has a significant edge in this position. Oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah.
14 point is really good here. It's big asset. adds the extra. There's the bar point. Crucial roll for Mochy. But the 14 point here for Hideaki, it adds some extra obstacles for Mochy to play with his checkers when you own that outfield point. And
I guess Hideaki hasn't had that tough of decisions yet, but I've got a little bit of the feeling that he's still in time pressure mode. So he's still kind of whipping the checkers around quick and not thinking a lot. It can be hard to get out of that. You know, when you get that pressure on you, you get amped up and you stay that way.
Yes. I see Hideaki's PR is 6.8. Did he make a mistake that I missed?
Yes, so he should have come out to the bar with entering 6 right before the cube, and then taking the cube after that was a minor mistake.
Oh, that was the one. Yes, that's true. Sorry. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, that was it was almost a blunder.
Yes.
Hideaki.
Yes.
Okay, and Mochy is in a really comfortable position here, and it's very easy to play this position as well for Mochy.
The 6 is very nice to go escape any attacking potential back there.
I don't know what he's thinking about here. Is he thinking about playing safe?
I have no idea.
9 to 8 is simply it's too stiff, Mochy. It's too stiff.
Yeah, why?
It's better to just leave the 1 in 18 shot.
This could be that whole seeing ghosts after last game that we talked about. You know, that
good play.
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's true. He might be a little bit, damaged goods. Maybe that's too harsh.
It was a tough one. But what a great start for Mochy. Yeah. Pretty straightforward game. You know, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's nice to come back to this again.
Okay, here he has a little decision though.
Sure.
I was just stating that Mochy would have easy decisions here, but this one is a decision because this is a little bit front loading of the spare checkers. Not too good.
Exactly, and it's your opponent is not comfortable hitting you on the 12 really anyway, so I'm going to 18 to 13 pretty quickly.
That's the key.
Yeah.
You're putting your blot in front of a stripped midpoint. And actually, it's better to stay slotted for the 6' Mochy.
Yeah, you love to slot the 6'. You know, you're a little more scared to slot a 5 or 4' or so. Or sorry, yeah, exactly. And plus, you bring a checker in. Having a spare on the 6 is great.
Yeah. Okay,
he's gonna go with this.
This play is fine as well. It's lower risk, lower reward.
Sure. And again, you know, he's finding merit in this because he knows there is merit, right? So there's probably something that we're not considering here. But it's very natural and pure to me to just take advantage of the stripped points and the lack of willingness to hit.
Yes.
And just use flexibility, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the advantage of this move is mainly that you leave no shots. But of course, the spare checkers are not wasted. They're still pretty good, especially if Hideaki steps up under the gun, which he should, of course. Then you have 2 attackers ready to attack and fight for the edge of the prime.
This is good, though. I'm glad that he's still willing to slow down and think about this and find the play that he likes and not rush into something because of the pressure from last game or anything like that. You know, this is fine, and especially in something where it's close. Go ahead and do some work on it. You know, they are very different plays in a sense.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. He finds a fine move. It's okay. I would have played the bold move. I'm a little bit scared though, or nervous. I would say, Nick, because Mochy has shown a little bit of weakness when he gets below 1 minute on the clock.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
I'd prefer him to play a little bit faster. But yeah, fair enough.
Oh, just in time. He rolls that 5-1 and prevents the 2-6 escape.
Okay, so here's the decision for Hideaki. Do you play pure and improve your inner board at the cost of leaving a very costly shot because the race is very close? I mean, this is a really tricky one.
Wow, I would not find the best play of leaving that shot by any means. Of course, the next 6s are pretty bad. You save yourself 1 for a roll. But just volunteering, it's hard to see why that would be better, you know, to give the shot right now instead of maybe getting away with it, right?
Yes. It's a tough one.
Yeah, he knows there's the question here. Good intuition. Nice. Very good play.
Very good play from Hideaki, yeah.
It's a challenging one.
It was.
Yeah, this natural 18 to 11. I'm not sure what else Mochy is looking for here.
I don't
He might be
need-
concerned that he's like running low on gammons, that Hideaki is getting a lot of checkers home
I
and
don't.
wants to attack.
I don't know what he was zoning out for there, because I didn't see any reason to spend any seconds on your time bank. I think he spent 5 seconds on his time bank, but maybe he's just like getting into focus mode or whatever.
Hideaki is very unlucky to not safety that blot on the 8 and has to figure out how to make the best of it here. This seems fine, but wow, there's a measurable difference. Okay, plus brings it closer. And now Mochy picks this up. Does he hit the second with a weaker board, though? Interesting.
It could. I mean, it's so natural to hit. Okay, he should hit.
But it's 5 blots, and your opponent has a very strong 5-point board.
Yes,
Like,
but it's like, even if you get hit, you can still you have good timing in a priming game, you know.
Maybe.
But it is a little bit scary. Like he
Yeah.
could get. Yeah, it is a little bit scary, but it
Like,
was the right
now
play.
it
It was brilliant play from Mochy.
Sure. And on a dance, what is this? Is this a clear Cuban pass? Is this too good? Like, there's a lot of blots around.
It is a lot of blots. I think he should recube here.
Oh, yeah, because
So many
you're
blots.
one roll away from maybe not having timing to escape. You need a lot of rolls, more than you think, to roll a 6, and then also an ace before the next 6, right?
Yeah, he has a lot of
So-
time to roll the 6.
Yeah. This is there's certainly a pile of gammons, and I can't imagine how Mochy can take this.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna drop the cube. So the question is actually whether it's too good to double or not.
Yeah,
The
and I
thing-
think
yeah.
there's so many gammons that I think you have to try it, and I think you might still be able to get away with a cube after like a 5 that hits or something like that. You know, if you
Yeah.
roll like a 5-4 and really run low on timing.
Yeah, but what if you
Yeah.
roll double 4, or double 5, or double
Yeah, well,
3,
could roll-
followed by an ace? It is quite volatile, you know. And the volatility is getting me to lean towards just
I
cashing
don't-
it now. But
well, here's the thing. I think you've come up with like
Yeah.
less than just like a couple rolls that are, oh, look at this, and I think the bot likes your play.
yeah,
Um,
and I think it. I mean, you put your pressure on your opponent here, so I don't think it's too
Yeah.
good. You just want to double. It's too volatile, and you could easily get into a sequence here where you couldn't double. And look at this, Mochy's actually. I mean, maybe we are off, Nick, because
Well, currently he only has the 1 checker back, and
Yeah.
and Hideaki has 2 back, and not
Yeah.
only that, 1 not at the edge.
Wow, look
So
at this! Look
clear
at this.
advantage.
There was
But,
there was another issue that I didn't get to mention, but I was thinking about it. That if you redouble and he takes, then your gammons don't get full value because you shoot above the target. You only
I
need
can't
7
believe
points
this
to
is
win.
this close. I mean, I believe that there's this many wins, but that 50% gammons is about what this felt like.
Yeah,
And it's hard to imagine that there's going to be enough wins in it.
this is
for White to
this is a
overcome
tough
that.
one.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Well, great job sending the cube. It would have been so that's interesting. It's like clearly a blunder to not send him play on too good, but it's not like a 200 error or something like that, right?
No.
The window is fairly tight here because of
It
that.
is.
What's going on with the gammons there?
Yes, exactly. Because the gammon rates are so high, and because of
Yeah.
the match score as well,
Hmm.
it narrows in the doubling window. I mean,
Wow.
I'm impressed that Mochy, he realizes that this is a tough decision. I think you and
Yeah.
I were a little bit too quick to jump on Team Pass,
Yeah,
the bandwagon
absolutely.
for Team Pass.
Yeah,
But Mochy realizes that this is a really, really difficult. Again, it's a prime versus prime. You know, it's.
Yeah.
There's
he
so
probably
much-
also realizes being down in the match, down in the PR race, that this could easily be a 1-game match and like just another huge, gap to catch up and with less room to do it. So I wonder if he factors that in at all. But I think that probably should lean you towards giving up the 2 points and just playing here.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is just a disaster if he loses the PR race in 1 game on this cube.
Yeah,
You know?
but I think Mochi is actually ahead right now. Even if this was to be a small mistake, I think Mochi is still going to be ahead in the PR race.
Mhm.
But if he just gets blitzed here and stays on the
Right.
bar,
Yeah.
Hideaki might get a lot of easy decisions, and he might catch up and actually win the PR race and a gammon for the
Yeah.
match.
It could very well end up being a free roll for the PR race, right? And just like a clear match win kind of thing. So, and that's a nice situation for Hideaki with a 4-point, finals lead right now.
Yeah. This is truly a decision where you want to spend your time bank, and Mochy is doing so. Such a critical decision.
Mm-hmm. So what is it? 13 total points to win? Is that what you need to get to?
Yes, the first 1 to 13 wins the
We're
final.
8 to 4 right now. Yeah, I bet this is interesting. If we do this for another couple decades, maybe there's going to be match equity tables for the finals too. Huh? You got to think about if you need to be careful about this situation or not.
But of course, the players, they don't have the information about the PR race in each individual match.
Yes.
But they know whether they're up or down, of course, in points.
Yeah.
This is difficult. Mochy is scratching his
He's
hair.
right, though. Like the more you look at that, this is very clear that Hideaki doesn't actually have the timing necessarily
he
to
takes
escape
it.
those 2 checkers, and so
Let's
he
see.
sees that he can win. Yeah,
Hideaki just
I
wants
like
to
it.
roll something. Yeah, that's okay. It's not the best. The 6 would have been much better. Now Mochy
this
wants to
was-
roll aces.
This is why this felt too good to me. Is after this roll, now you can consider cubing again, and I still would have a really hard time taking.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
But
Again, like given what happened already, that's not the 6 isn't the worst thing. The 1 is really kind of a killer for Mochy.
yes.
If
And
Hideaki gets that,
for all the players, wow, the 1-6. I was just about to give you the probability, the expected number of rolls to enter to exit a 5 prime or to jump a 5 prime.
Yeah.
All the owners of From Basics to Badass, they have the calculations in the appendix.
Wow.
It's 6 rolls approximately on average. It takes for one checker to roll to jump the 5 prime when he's 1 pip away from the edge, and he just rolled it in 1 roll with the
This
6-1.
is quite likely to be a very short match.
Oh
7.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And the real question now is whether Hideaki can catch up with the PR of Mochy, because Mochy is going to stay on with 5-2, and I don't think he should hit here on the deuce point. Okay,
It's really close.
it's
yeah,
close.
wow. It's another one of those natural things, but your opponent has so much structure to
Yeah.
punish you with that it's scary to do,
And you know what, Nick? This is one of those matches where the XG++ analysis, it might give a different result.
Yeah. I think either way, if Hideaki has 1 point after this, right, and he goes to 9, whether it's 9 to 4 or 10 to 5, this was a great result for Hideaki.
Yeah, 9 to
So
5 or 10 to 4. Yeah, either
Yeah, I
way,
don't-
just getting 1 point now is really great. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good for Mochy. Now Hideaki is going to have some decisions as well in the Baron.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's also really
Now,
good.
do you want to make the 8? No, you don't. You just bring the checker in, I'm sure, right? You make the 10. That's an interesting play. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
I
like,
would think to do this. Yeah. Yeah.
the problem here is that you put too many checkers on the 6 point. That's the point you want to clear.
Okay.
So here you should probably play 10 to 5, 6 to 4. So
yeah, 10
unstack.
to 5 looks great.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Look, he even plays the deuce first. Okay, he moves
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah, 10 to 5 looks great, and then, yeah, sure. 6 to 4 makes that mountain, right? Or starts working on it.
That's a
Oh,
little
this
bit
is... Yeah, why would you want to do this? I'm not sure why you want to... I think you don't like the inner gap. You don't
Yeah.
necessarily want checkers on the point in front of the anchor. So, yeah, this doesn't look like the right idea, but
Yeah.
it's really close.
really
so-
close. But again, it goes to the courtroom of XG++.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I bet he was seeing that it saves double 6s. Something like this,
Okay.
a couple sets that it fixed. That's probably why it's close there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a very brave take from Mochy on the 4 cube. He
Yeah.
didn't chicken out. He
Mhm.
took it as a man.
That's
And
like an
Mochy-
interesting tournament decision, though. I think if he thought about it the way that I was just describing it, that there's a strong case for dropping a borderline cube there to give himself a chance to catch up. Like it's just too bad of a result to lose the match in 1 game on this game.
It depends, but I'm not so sure because you're not changing the probabilities of the outcome. Who plays better, who wins? You're just changing the volatility. You're putting it all
Yes.
on the line in 1 match rather than 4. But I guess
Yeah.
it shouldn't really matter, should it?
I'm not sure. I think maybe volatility favors the person in front, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, so there are decisions here for Hideaki, especially on the plus in such a if he wins the Gammon here. Yeah, look at the PR of Hideaki.
Just because one small mistake and that's enough to cost him for this one.
Exactly, you know, it's this is tricky. Mochy was lucky to get the deuce at least. That made it a bit more difficult for Hideaki. And even though he's not making any real errors, just the fact that it's such a few moves in this match, if he ends up winning the Gammon.
So you don't tend to want to be stripped on, even though it prepares you to clear the 5 there. Like I know you tend to like an extra spare on it to avoid the 6-3, 5-3, things like that. And it's really only the 6-5 that you give back, and you're going to take a lot more checkers off this way too. So good. He found a good play. I think either was fine.
Mochy really wants to come in and hit.
A little bit of stress relief before that before that roll. Oh, what an interesting bot play this is. Yeah, again, Rip looks great.
Yeah, Mochy has so many checkers on the bar that Hideaki just needs to play as safe as possible. Okay, that's a good shot. But again, we saw a small inaccuracy from Hideaki, and that's going to cost him the PR battle. Okay,
we could turn this around and have a match.
And Mochy might get some tough decisions if he's coming in with a hit.
Oh, we lost a checker. Okay.
Yeah. There's the hit. Wow. And now Mochy needs to play a containment game. This can be tricky.
This match was destined to be interesting, huh?
Yes.
Every one of them.
Okay, deuce, that's super good.
Right on the edge, yep.
I don't think he should be hitting with a 5 here, Mochy. I think he should just think about the outfield control.
It hurts so bad to give up the double 6s, but yeah, I think you're right. I think you just focus on that, on what happens if he rolls a single 6.
That's a good 6. That's the best 6, actually. It gives perfect outfield control.
Now, I learned that the pivot point for containment is 12 pips away from the checker in general, so if you can put things on the 15 and 13, you're really happy here.
Yeah.
Which leads me actually to a slightly different play, but you make an ace by coming off the anchor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is a fine play from Mochy. A small inaccuracy. Oh.
Yeah.
What about now? How many checkers does he have off? He's got...
Oh, is this worth a cube? Yeah. Usually, I think... Often these kinds of positions, I got to think more about the checkers off. But when you have the threat of the second checker, that's the time to send it, because after you've hit it, it's just lost.
And he has to be much more aggressive here.
Yeah, and he risks a lot of gammons by just playing this out and trying to, So there's a little bit of bonus of sending the cube and canceling gammons and just playing for the win here too. Yeah, I like this cube. Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah, Mochy's thinking about it.
I think he'll find it too. This is why he took this game, so he could play this, right? Man, what a huge turnaround this would be for Mochy to win this on an 8 cube. And win the PR battle. This could be it. So maybe this is the argument for taking that cube. You can get in the... Oh, and he waits. Okay,
he waits, and he missed the cube. Yeah, it was a cube.
Oh, it was sizable. That could be enough to change the PR race too, with the lack of decisions. But we'll see. We'll see.
It will. And now he's missed it twice. That's also unlucky. You get the identical decision again. Oh, that's bad luck for Mochy. But I mean, should he have found this cube?
I think so. I think I don't know.
It's quite volatile, and the take point is 24% for Hideaki. So you double for the match, you should be quite aggressive. Now, of course, he's very far from a cube. Now that he's not gonna pick up that second one. But look at the PR. The PR is still close, and Mochy is gonna get a lot of decisions here. So I think he's gonna catch up, to be honest, with Hideaki's PR of 4. But we need to get this one to the XG plus.
Yeah.
Chord.
Yeah, I still think like the likelihood of Mochy losing a gammon when it doesn't work is a compelling point in this position too. I know it can be a little too advanced of thinking, but here I think it works. I think that when he doesn't win, he's going to lose a lot of gammons.
You kill the gammons. Yeah, you kill the gammons.
It's just a nice feature to be able to kind of push you over the edge on that cube.
Yes, unfortunately for Mochy, he misplayed the double 5.
There was something better than it, huh? It was confusing what the last ones were to me, too. It just seemed like shuffle some checkers is going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, how big of a difference could there be?
2-6, not 1-6. Okay, Mochy needs to just close the 6 prime.
Yep.
And then he's going to be in a pretty good shape.
Having trouble doing so. Yeah, I like this 3 to get another direct cover. Seems strong.
Yeah.
It's not the bot play somehow. Okay.
But it's got to be close, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Mochy has... Okay, he still doesn't
Yeah.
shut down the 6... or close down the 6 prime. So the best play here is 14 to 6.
Yeah, I can see merit in all this.
Yeah, you're not increasing any builders for the 7 point, but at least you're getting an attacker for the ace point. But I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, but all these micro inaccuracies are hurting his PR.
Yeah.
But the moment he gets
given that
this-
he's at a 4.52, it's not. It might actually be lowering his average, but yeah, I mean, point stands.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. He's not getting he's not playing a 0,
Yeah.
but he's also not playing a 4 with those mistakes. So.
Again, he fails to close out.
It's wild. This should be an easier game than this, yeah. But I think he keeps leaving it slotted, probably like
Yes.
5 and 4 or something like this. Looks
Yeah.
reasonable to me.
11 to
Yeah.
5, 12 to 10. Okay.
I saw the 11 to 5, 6 to 4 for some reason, but yeah,
Okay.
they all seem really close.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe there's better diversification here.
Okay, now Mochy needs the 6 prime. That would make his life so much easier.
Yeah.
So a 1 and a 4. And if he doesn't get a 1 and a 4, then at least he's gonna hit. Oh, this one.
What
It's
is
actually
this?
not a good roll, but it's
That
not
gets a checker off. It's
horrible.
fine.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. And look at the PR race. Mochy is catching up, and he will
So
catch
now
up. I mean,
9, so 6 checkers off. So usually with a closeout and
yes.
2 off, it's like the cube time. But yeah, so we're really close, but not quite there, I think.
this was a very good play from Mochy. He knew this wasn't a cube yet, and this was not an advantageous sequence for
Yeah.
Mochy. So this is not going to be a cube either.
Right. Most likely the next roll he takes 1 checker off and dumps another one deeper.
Oh,
and
sorry.
So if he,
It
if
was
he
actually.
fades that, then I think it's time to double.
Yeah. I think he's 1 step away now. It was actually
Yeah.
slightly better because he closed out the point, open point on the ace point. He's 1
Yeah.
step away now. If he, whatever he rolls and Hideaki fans, then it's a cube.
Yeah.
And the best roll that Mochy could roll is probably 2-1 or double 6.
Yeah, the 2-1 looks great, but then you're left with the double-decker bus or whatever it is that Michi calls it, right? And so next roll you're not going to do anything, but it's good enough.
It's still
sure.
it's really good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the checkers off before you
Yeah.
open up your inner board. The more checkers you get off, the better.
And,
Oh, that's a big swing. I think you need
checker
to.
off and fan was not. This was not the variant I was thinking of. With the gap, it's a little different, but I think it's still going to be a double.
I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. And we got the 24% take point. So this is slightly higher than for money. It's like
It feels like with the gap that this should be a take. That's where I'd be leaning anyway.
I
But,
think we're above. So he's got 6 checkers off, right? Yeah, it's a take. I think it's a take because 5 checkers off, he would be below 20% now. With 6 checkers off, he's got to be better off. So I think he's above 24%. Yeah, 27%. So the engine confirms it is a take. Our estimations were correct.
Yeah, right in the window. And he's got plenty of time to think about it. And it's a decision for the match, right? Either way, even if you pass it, then you're accepting 25% of the match. So this is going to be generally the biggest decision you're going to make in any match. So
Yes.
yeah,
You should
spend some
spend-
clock time for
Definitely. I think he's going to find the take. I mean, if he knows the reference positions, which I'm sure he does, I know for a fact that he
Yeah.
read Cube Like a Boss.
Sure. Oh, really?
And
Okay.
this is, I mean, this is straight out of the post late hit chapter.
Snaps
so-
it up.
and he
You
took
do
it.
have to do a
Good play.
Like you were saying, the take point. You have to do a little factoring and figure out if that affects it enough to change anything.
Yeah. I assume that
Money
he
reference
remembers
should be
the take point at 7 away, 3 away Crawford.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good 5. That opens up the game.
Whew.
But
Oh,
notice-
look at the PR race in this too.
Yes, and you can say that's kind of an unlucky roll for Mochy because he didn't have a decision.
Right.
Each
And now
decision can matter a lot here.
if Hideaki has had less decisions, he could catch up more in the PR race just by playing this out too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
lots of
Hideaki, unless he rolls an ace, he's not going to get any decisions.
Yeah, very true, very true.
While Mochy gets a decision every time he rolls a 3, 2, or a 1. Again, he gets a decision. This is going to lower his PR.
To see it. Yep.
I think Mochy wins the PR just because of the extra decisions now. Look at this, Mochy is way ahead. But of course we need to go run it on XG++.
Mm-hmm.
Hideaki needs a double. Is that a... No, it's 4-2. Yeah,
Wow.
and he resigns. Wow, Mochi's taken 2 points, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And we just went from, maybe a disaster of a decision to take that cube, right? A really borderline thing, to maybe turning the match around to where he's close again, right? So it really paid off for him, I think.
Yes.
Either way, winning a game is great, right? He's just got to do that some. And so hopefully the PR pans out in his favor for him too.
Let's see. I'm excited to see the PR here because this is really one where the XG++ can swing the result.
Yeah. Man, we've got a little bit of everything in this matchup so far.
Look at Hideaki. He's putting in positions on his mobile. He's checking the recube.
Excellent. Of course, yeah.
He's not going to wait for the desktop version.
Actually, what do you want to bet that he's actually checking the initial 4 cube? I bet he's putting that in. I bet he feels fine about the race and just wants to know that one because it was wild or something,
It could be.
Or maybe it's just saving a screenshot of it so he remembers to look at it. I don't know. Interesting.
Oh, this was a crucial big swing. What a big swing! Just a 1-game match after that long one. We got a big swing here in game 1.
What a sweat on the PR result too.
So
Goodness.
Mochy is going over to check now. I think we got the result. We're waiting for the producer to show us the final. Okay, here it is. Here's the final result. Let's see. Wow, Mochy takes it.
Yeah.
3.66 versus 4.5. That's a 2-point match for Mochy.
Absolutely
Okay.
crucial 2 points too. You really needed that. So what's that? That's the total is 8-6 now, huh? A really
8-6.
tight match again. Yeah.
It is. And the
Yeah.
PR averages are also narrowing in. So the PR averages now are 3.34 for Mochy and 2.94 for Ueda.
Wow.
So even the PR gap is Ueda is still ahead. He's still in a good position. He's up 2 points and he has a better PR average. But
Wow.
Mochy is narrowing in.
Well, that was a completely different kind of excitement, but excellent nonetheless. And that's those prime versus prime cubes are the most fascinating in backgammon. I think that's really exciting stuff to see. Man, I can't. It's one of those where all the options seemed on the table, right? Is it a double? Is it a pass? Is it too good? I'm not really sure.
Super exciting. We got to see them, here they were really pushed to their maximum capacity in terms of coming up with good decisions. They had time to spend and it was big decisions with a 4 cube and 8 cube. Yeah, wow. Really cool match.
I bet that's the match each of them needed probably after the one before it, after match 6 too, right? They kind of plenty of time and some things happened in that one for sure. But they weren't under games and games of 10-second clock pressure,
That's
so
true, but I think that maybe Hideaki might disagree.
That's true.
Okay, Nick, so we're heading on to our next segment here with a secret Grandmaster analysis. So
great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us again, and we'll be back together tomorrow, right?
Excellent. Yeah, I'll see you for the next match. Yeah.
Okay, good. And for the viewers, stay tuned because we're revealing who's today's surprise Grandmaster is in a short moment after this break. If you haven't already, smash the like button, please do so, and the notification bell. And stay tuned. We'll be back right after a short break.
We proudly announce that the UBC 2021 Contender Tournament will be held at the beautiful Caleta Hotel in Gibraltar. Schedule available soon. The new 2021 Galaxy Earthboard is a tournament luxury board optimized for travel. Pre-order now. Details in the description below. Improve your backgammon skills by reading the best books on the market. Available on Amazon. Links in the description below. This is the Point Backgammon Scoreboard, a scoreboard for winners. Order yours now on takepoint.pro. The UBC is produced by Backgammon Galaxy. Play among the stars. Hi there. This is the amazing team who made the UBC production that you're watching right now. You can support us by donating any amount using this QR code or the link in the description below. Donate $50 or more to get a personal shout-out later in the video by Marc Olsen. Donate $1,000 to get a shout-out and your own custom avatar on Galaxy. Thank you so much for your support. Another way to support Backgammon Galaxy is to place your sports bets on betgalaxy.net, the fastest way to build your Bitcoin bankroll while Bitcoin is skyrocketing. BetGalaxy.net is a Bitcoin-only bookmaker created by the Galaxy team and accepts players worldwide. Create an account now and place your sports bets.
What's up, guys? That was a quick, very entertaining match, some interesting decisions, and in this post-match analysis segment, you're in for a treat because I got a really good one for today to make the analysis. But before we go further, let me just do a couple of shout-outs. So we've got some more donations. Unfortunately, I can't see who it is today because who has the access, he's unavailable. He had an emergency. So tomorrow we're going to do the shout outs for the ones who made the donations today. And to all the small donations, thank you very much as well. Everything helps. Another shout out to Ralph Bird from Melbourne Open, which is an online event this year. We're going to play it on Backgammon Galaxy. It's pretty big. There's a lot of added money to these tournaments. There's satellites, there's a speed event, ladies event, and a main event, which is a €500 event. So if you haven't already, check it out. It's here on Backgammon Galaxy. We can see we got the lobby full of Melbourne events. Check them out on Facebook. And if you're into small stakes, try to go for the satellites. If you're into for big stakes, you can buy straight in to the main events. Okay, so let's get to it. Today's secret grandmaster is someone that I've been looking up to for many years. I learned so much through reading his books. To this day, I'm still using so much of the terminology that I got from reading those pages, and I've been looking forward to this moment. So, drum roll, please. The legendary Bill Roberti. Welcome to the show, Bill.
Oh, it's glad to be here. You're doing a great job. I've watched a few of these episodes already, and happy to take part.
Oh, that sounds good. So today is a little bit of a special match because it was just a one-game match.
I know, one incredible game.
It was, yes. Quite explosive game. So we've had some time, especially you, to dissect each move. And let's see what we find out. I'm sure that we can talk for half an hour about this incredibly explosive game. So I am now showing the viewers what I see in my Extreme Gammon, and we put a couple of flags on the positions here. So I'm just scrolling through the opening game. And the first flag we have is a 4-3 for Mochy. So what do you think about this position, Bill?
Yeah, this, after he made it, this looks clear, but this is a position a lot of players, I think, would misplay. Obviously, you're covering with the 4. It looks sort of natural here to split with the 3, positionally, you're doing some good with your back checkers, starting an anchor, but 6 to 3 hitting actually violates a pretty good rule throughout a lot of the game, which is that you like to preserve that spare on the 6 point. That turns out to work in an awful lot of positions where moving that spare off it is a mistake. But the thing about this position is that once you hit, if he fans, it's double pass, and if he comes in with a non-hitting roll, 1-5, 2-5, things like that, it's a strong double and a take.
Yes.
You can't do that if you make the splitting play. You're just not going to have any big swing coming up. So this is a case where you hit him just to make sure that next turn, you might get a good double, and if you don't, you haven't really caused yourself.
Yeah. If I can add something here, Bill, we've got the rack.
The rack. Oh, I love it.
We got the rack. I learned that from your new book, the rack. And why is it called the rack, the 4, 5, 6 point structure?
I called it that because if you have it, it's torture for your opponent. He can never get a good anchor. He's always threatened by that when he leaves blots anywhere. And it's just sort of torture to play against it. So the rack just kind of popped into my head. So that's a good.
Some other things I would like to add here. There's another concept. There's always a battle going on at the edge of the primes here. So Mochy is fighting for the edge of the prime. Another thing is the McGrill safe versus ball play criteria. Whoever has the stronger inner board can usually play bold, and Mochy definitely has the stronger position here. Therefore, he can play aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Mochy's looking to put his opponent away quickly, and hitting 6-3 is right for all those reasons.
Yes. Maybe we can even add the tempo gain as well, because with the passive play, you're giving the full roll to the opponent, and he does have 10 checkers in the zone. So either he's going to develop, blitz, or simply just anchor up with a deuce. So hitting just makes an awful lot of sense here.
Yeah, and in general, when your opponent is stacked in the opening, as he is here, he's still got 5 on the 6, 4 on the 8. When you see that, hitting becomes stronger as a result, because you're taking away all the rolls that would unstack and make a point.
Oh, yes.
They might hit you, but they're not, like 3-1 is not making the 5-point anymore. 4-2 isn't doing anything.
Yes.
Your opponent really needs those rolls when he's stacked up to get into a playable position, and when you hit him, you take all out of it.
Yeah, so there's a huge tempo gain here. And I actually also learned that expression from you, Bill, the tempo hit, which I learned from 501 Backgammon Problems. That was the first time I heard that expression. Okay, let's move.
We used to use it more generally to indicate, a hit that prevents your opponent from consolidating. But the same idea applies in a position like this, where your opponent needs his whole roll to work. And by hitting him, it's not that you're taking away any threats that he has, but you're preventing him from putting his game back together.
Okay, Bill, I just had a little, our producer just told me if I could tell you to just either sit a little bit higher in the chair or move your camera, because we can't really see you well. You need to go.
Oh, okay.
That's better.
How's that?
Oh, yes, much better. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next position. So this was a small inaccuracy here. No, actually it was actually a mistake here. An error from Hideaki. 6-2, he played 11-5, made a slotting play where he should have come out. So what do you think about this position, Bill?
I thought this was a strange error from a very strong player. You typically see this error when you're teaching intermediates or beginners. They're terrified of going to the other guy's bar play. They just think, oh, it's so risky, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
And what you have to explain to them is, no, it's not really risky, because there's never going to be an easier time to do it than right now, and you've got to do something with those back checkers so you don't end up in an ace or a deuce point game. So this play looked fairly obvious to me, and I was surprised to see it from Ueda, who's playing something close to perfect backgammon.
Yeah.
You have to, even when your opponent has a strong board, if you have nothing, you've got to go get the 18 point.
Yes, I totally agree. Again, I think I learned an expression from your books here, the distraction split. Would that be fair to call this move a distraction split?
I wouldn't call it that. I would just say, look, you've got to get a point here somewhere if you're going to survive. And the 18 point is the only one that's really available anymore. You missed your shot on the 3 point, so that's gone. Go out to the 18 and see if your opponent can put you away or not.
Yeah.
A lot of rolls miss.
Okay. Then we've got an interesting cube decision here, where Mochy is in a strong position. He's got the rack, he's got the 4-point board slotted, he's got a direct shot with a 4, and he does make a powerful cube here, and Ueda finds a take. What do you think about this position, Bill?
Obviously clear double. And this is tough. The take drop decision is not easy here. I think Ueda's thinking that if my opponent doesn't roll a 4, I'm doing all right. But the problem is that Mochy's advantage isn't going away. It persists, and he has lots of good numbers that don't require a 4.
Yeah.
Double aces, anything with a 5. 10s play well. He probably even has switches with small doubles.
Could be, and 6-1 as well.
Yeah, 6-1 is very good. 6-5 is strong. There's no guarantee that Ueda will even be in a position to cover his 5-point next turn, and even if he is in a position, he may not do it. So I would have been pretty scared of this. I think I would have dropped this probably too quickly, given how we now know it's only a small pass.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to show the viewers a little variation here, where we're gonna take one from the stack from the 6 point and put it out on the Ueda's 11 point, and then it actually turns into a borderline take. So that stack on the 6 point is quite nasty. It hurts his flexibility and his overall position. And if we increase his flexibility a bit, it is just a borderline take.
Yeah, I mean, Ueda has a position you don't like. There's nothing really great to say about it. You've got a stack on the 6, a pile on the 8, 3 blots around. The only question is, can Mochy put him away quickly? And the answer is, I think that Ueda's position is just a little too weak, whether Mochy rolls a great number or not.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would have found the pass as well.
I think it's easy to let this one go.
Yes, it is.
You don't have to die. This is not the battlefield you have to die on.
Probably most players would find the pass, so maybe it's also remarkable that he finds a take, actually. So he sees some value in this position that we are not really seeing. Maybe it's something to do with the races quite close. Maybe there's some sequences where he does end up making the 5 point. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, the fact that he even realized that this was close to a take, is outstanding on his part, because most players would simply pass this in a shot.
Yes. Okay, we move on here, and we see the 4-2, actually a small inaccuracy right after from Mochy, but it's still a reasonable move. He gets the double hit. Ueda enters with a 2-1 forced from the bar, and now we've got our next flag. 2-1 from Mochy from the bar. So what do you think about this position, Bill?
The natural play is bar 24, 13, 11, because Mochy really wants the 7 point, and he's not well positioned to get it now. And 13, 11, it's a nice place for a deuce. I think he improves his back position a little bit when he goes 20 to 18, because now at least the pointing rolls aren't making an inner point. But when you have the advantage, you're always looking to finish your opponent off. And in this case, Mochy's got a strong game. He doesn't have to worry about defense. And if he is worried about defense, he's got to look at bar to 24 to 22 as well.
Yes. Actually, I have a rollout here, Bill. We've had Stick to roll out some of these positions, and it turns out that bar 22 is actually 1 millipoint better than 13 to 11. But those are the two best plays.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, 24, 22, it doesn't allow your opponent a lot of good numbers. And now, if you're worried about defense at all, you've got no duplication anywhere and tremendous number of rolls that increase your edge.
Yes, it's a slightly more bold play. I think Mochy made probably the safest of the 3 plays, and as he has the stronger position, he could force it a little bit, either by the aggressive split or bringing a builder down to the 11 point.
Right. There's nothing about this position that's saying to Mochy, be defensive. You're crushing the guy. Just keep piling on the pressure until he proves he can roll a 3 or 1 and get back in the game.
Yeah. Okay. So then we got a couple of moves here where not too much happens.
Period.
Yeah. At least from an error point of view. But Mochy gets to make a prime. He's got one man trapped. Now he's playing like a priming game versus an anger. And then we got this 5-1 decision in move 10 for Mochy. So what do you think about this position, Bill?
A very odd play. Not a play I would expect. 18, 13, 7, 6 just would seemingly be the first play you'd look at. You get the third checker on the 18 point moving, you put a spare on the 6 where you love it. You love it all throughout the game, and you like it here too. The risk is pretty low. Ueda has to roll an ace, and now he's left 2 blots out there, which he can't be happy about. And mostly he doesn't roll the ace, and now you're threatening to make a 6 prime in a couple of different ways. No, I thought this was, I thought he overthought the position here somehow. But the thing is that when you make his play 9, 4, 7, 6, you're getting a little ahead of yourself. Your position's a little front-loaded, which is one of your concepts, by the way, that I like very much. Too many checkers toward the front, 7 and 8, no spares, and now you really, if you don't roll 3-1 or 5-1 or something, you really need to mobilize that extra checker on the 18, and if you can't do it, you've bought yourself some trouble.
Yes.
18-13 is really just a mobility play. It gives you a checker to play with at extremely little risk, and it's very useful.
Yes, I love the analysis, Bill. I couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, I'm also a little bit surprised here. Maybe he was scared of the 2-6 to come out with a hit, but I mean that's so good anyway, right? So you
right
basically...
after his play 2-6 is super. You need a 9 to hit, and now you're the one that's got a problem getting off the 18-point anchor.
Yeah. I mean, it's not it's not a big mistake. It's 25 millipoints according to the rollout, so it's not a huge thing.
Not a big mistake, but not a mistake he should have made.
Yeah, I agree.
This is like, I would characterize this as like, okay, maybe a strong intermediate, weak advanced player might, fall into this trap somewhere, but not Mochy.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the fact that it's not a bigger mistake, again, it might be that you and I are just seeing this from a purely visual point of view. We recognize the patterns here. We don't want to front load. We like the connectivity. We like the mobility. Maybe Mochy saw some tactics or something that we didn't see, and it's not a big deal. It's barely an error.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. So we move on here. Mochy gets the nice inside prime here from the 3 to the 7 point, and now actually it's looking really bad for Hideaki until he rolls this 2-1 from the bar, and Mochy fans, and now there's a juicy recube from Hideaki. So what do you think about this position, Bill?
Well, this is scary. I mean, this is like that other play, though. It's close to a take, which surprises me because I wouldn't have taken this. Ueda has so many numbers working, 6s, 5s, 1s, and even if he doesn't do anything, you're mostly going to fan and he can do it all next turn. What's his worst roll? Double 4s, I guess, is kind of it. But you're looking at potentially 5 blots up on the bar against a perfect board here, and backgammon potential, looming down the line somewhere. So great double. I'm a little surprised it turns out to be as close as it is, but
yeah.
Mochy does have a 5 prime. Those are worth something.
He has 36% winning games here. That's quite a lot. And then there's also the detail that the recube, the gammons are not as efficient when he recubes because he only needs 7 points to win. He doesn't need the last point. So there's a slight decrease in the gammon value of these 53% gammons that Hideaki wins. I remember during the match, Nick Blasier and our initial point was like, is this too good or not? And then it was like, okay, it's not too good because it's volatile and all, but we were quite surprised that it was actually this close. And again, maybe Mochy.
Yeah, I was really astonished, given Ueda's got a perfect board. You have 5 blots lying around. Obviously, if you didn't have a 5 prime, you wouldn't even be thinking about anything. But I'm a little surprised the 5 prime buys you that much.
Yeah.
Given how many blots there are.
Yes.
How long you're going to have to roll the ace and then, the 6s. You should have a long time to do that.
Yeah. And actually, Bill, I did some calculations. I think it was back in 2013 or something. I just learned about linear algebra in the university, and I applied it to calculate the probabilities of jumping out with back checkers over a 5 prime. And I remember that one back checker, 1 pip away from the edge, that is I believe it was 5.6 rolls or something like this. It takes 2 checkers like this.
The same calculation in about 1977 and getting the same answer.
Okay, let me just check it. It's right here. Let me just check the probabilities, just to show the viewers. Okay, so it's 5.95 rolls it takes for 1 checker. And the constellation that Hideaki actually has here takes 7.62 rolls. So that means that on average the expected number of rolls is 7.6 rolls here for Hideaki to jump this 5 prime. I mean, that is quite a lot of time for Mochy to roll some aces.
Well, don't forget though, it's not just that Mochy's going to roll an ace, because at that board that Ueda has, sometimes when you don't get a 1 or a 6 pretty quickly, but you can sweep up those checkers on Ueda's 7 and 8 points. Sometimes it's okay to just break the 6, make the 1, and now you still got a 5-point board he has to come in on. And you have more turns to throw the 1s and the 6s.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. The battle is not over after he crunches the 6-point. Ueda still has good chances and probably some extra rolls to get the last checkers out of there. That's a good point. Yeah, so it's a little bit artificial to just think about the exact expected rolls it takes to jump out. But at least there's a little piece of information for the player over the board to see if he can come up with a good guesstimation here. But very, very tricky positions. In my opinion, the prime versus prime positions are the most tricky positions in backgammon. And Bill, would you categorize this as a prime versus prime or a blitz versus prime?
Blitz versus prime.
Okay.
I mean, when Ueda wins, he swept up a lot of blots, which essentially makes it a blitz position.
Yeah.
The priming elements are just, it's hard for Ueda to get the back checkers out.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I'd call it prime versus blitz. Right now Ueda's blitzing.
Yes. Okay, that was an interesting position. Let's move on. He rolls a 4-2, which is probably a little bit below average, but nothing too much. And then he starts picking up all the checkers in the outfield.
Right, he gets a 6-3 in there.
Yeah, 6-3, that double hits. And then he gets the 6-1, actually, which took 5.95 rolls on average, but he just rolls it right in the first go. And now he's out. And Mochy is fighting to get an anchor. And then we've got the next flag, the double 1, which is actually a really tough decision for Hideaki here. He does find the switching play, but apparently it's the wrong switching play. So what's going on here, Bill?
He finds the obvious switch. I mean, 2-1 switching is a play you've made, a dozen times in your life. But then you have to take it one step further and say, no, wait a minute. If he comes in with some miracle shot, I want it to be on the highest point possible.
And why is that?
So then you switch from 3 to 2. And later on, you might switch from, you might switch off the 6 onto a low point to get him bringing his checkers in on the 6.
And why is that, Bill? Why is it that you want him to, when he rolls the joker, to come in on a higher point rather than a lower point? Because usually you want him to come in on a lower point so we can prime, but that's not the case here, right?
No, because you want to eliminate all the ace point, deuce point equity that you can, that he gets from establishing a low point when he comes in. Ideally, what you would like to do is, say, later on, switch off the 6 just as you're about to get all the rest of your men in. He comes in there, you go by him, and game over.
Yes, yeah.
And you're still winning a gammon because he's got so many, checkers to bring around.
So
when you do the switch, you lose a little backgammon equity, but just a little, and that doesn't really play much of a role here. Well, in the match, it plays no role because if he wins a gammon on the 4-2, he's winning the match.
Yeah. So here the backgammons
are already out of the picture.
Yes. It would probably be closer in a money game situation because of the backgammons. You win a little bit more backgammons when you switch just from 2 to 1, but it's easier to win the game. And I think there was a good lesson here, Bill, for the viewers that in a situation like this where your opponent got so many checkers on the bar, you're much more scared of the low anger, a deep anger, than a shallow anger. So it's better to switch as much as you can and eventually even switch to the 6-point. So that was a nice little lesson there.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, and then he gets another decision, Hideaki Ueda. So backgammon is not too easy. He's got a 5-2 to play here, and the best play would have been the double hit that tries to close out immediately and tries to avoid your opponent from getting that deep anger, but he didn't. He played a more passive play. What do you think about this position, Bill?
You learn this from playing with XG enough that you got a 5-point board and the other guy has checkers on the bar. Even though he has a 5 prime on the other side, you still just try to close him up. I've always thought actually that although prime against prime games are hard to play, what I find is that people make the most expensive mistakes in blitzes, because plays like this is a close play and it's a little unusual in that respect, but good players can make enormous blunders in blitz positions making plays that, at first glance seem perfectly reasonable, whether it's a cube action or a checker play or whatever. My personal bet noir are blitzes. I think they are the hardest part of the game to play well. And here's an example. A super player, hits and now has to decide, do I hit the fifth checker and put it up on the bar when my opponent has a 5-point board and a 5-point prime? And the answer is, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
but it's not obvious. And, he made a prudent play that I would say most players would probably make.
Yes. So the key is that you're actually more scared of him angering up than you are of being hit, and you want to gain the additional gammons by simply just closing him out rather than having him anger up and somehow survive the gammon.
Right. Well, you hit 2 and he fans and you close the 2-point and really, and all you need is a gammon, not a backgammon. Now your job is pretty much done. You can pre-clear the 6-point before you've even got all your men in. You can make it very safe for yourself. And that's the way to go.
Yes.
And the other thing is that you hit twice and he hits you back with a 2, you're far from dead.
Yes, you're actually still probably a pretty big favorite.
You're still a huge favorite.
Yeah, because you got so many playable spare checkers left in the outfield that you got plenty of time to get out of that 5'.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in many respects this is the most interesting position in the match. I mean, in this match here, we're going to get a lot of technical stuff in a bit, but in terms of kind of getting the big picture right, this is a good position.
Okay, so let's move on here. Then Mochy does anger up, which is crucial for the match.
Yes.
He gets that anger on the 23-point, and Mochy starts his Baron, and there's a double aces here. It's a very technical play. I actually rolled this one out, Bill, or Stick did. And the best play, I don't remember what the best play was with XG plus, but the best play here with the rollout is 6-5 with 3 checkers and then 8-7. So clearing the
which Ueda made.
Yes.
It initially rated that as second best, but I did roll out 2, and yes, that comes to the top fairly clearly. And it's a very interesting play. You would normally like to make it. You pre-clear the 6, you're saving yourself the trouble of clearing it later on. The trouble is that when he has a deuce point game and you pre-clear the 6 with a big mass like that, all of a sudden you can't play 3s from your 5-point, and you only have 1 spare on the 3 and 1 spare on the 4 that can move a 3. So you bought yourself what looks like a little too much trouble. If you had an extra spare on the 3-point, let's say, then I would make this play in a shot. But with only 1 spare there and an additional 1 on the 4, it looked a little questionable to me. I wasn't at all sure that I would have made that play here. I think I probably would have done something like maybe 8-7, 6-3, or
which was the other candidate play.
Yeah, because it aesthetically it looks easier to play that, but it turns out apparently that you've got just enough spares. And the checker on the 8-point, or I guess he ends up on the 7. Checker on the 7 sometimes goes to the 3 and the 4 and provides you with yet another 3.
There is something nice though against the 23-point anger to clear the 6-point, because those 4s, they can be a little bit annoying to play, because either if you don't have spare checkers to take a checker out, you have to play 5-1. So it is quite nice, right, to clear that 6-point.
Yeah, and that was a point that Mochy made in his nice little book on the on openings.
Yes.
Against a 2-point game, clear points as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Don't try to build some nice structure of spares in the middle. Just clear the points.
I think also you mentioned this concept when we talked about the switching play before, Bill, that you just want to clear like the 6-point, right? Here's an early 6 points clearance play, even though now he has the anger, but I guess it's still a little bit the same concept.
Well, there's one more tactical trick. When you clear the 6, you're going to make sure you play 8-7, otherwise double 6s from the bar will hit you.
Ooh. Yeah. Yes. And that's a pretty good point. Okay, we move on here. So now Hideaki is bearing in. He gets to take off his first checker. Mochy obviously has 3 checkers on the bar, nothing much, but I mean he still has 15% winning chances here just from that anger. And oh, I just missed a flag. Double one again for Hideaki. He's getting a lot of decisions here. He's not having an easy time. But what do you think about this position, Bill?
Okay, so double ones here. You're going to move. You're certainly going to move. You're not going to take checkers off.
No.
You're going to move 2 from 5 to 4 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the question is, do you keep those 2 going to the 3-point, or do you take one more checker from the 5 to the 3?
Mm-hmm.
Moving from the last checker from the 5 to the 3, it looks very nice, very, very pretty, but you've got now 3 on the 5-point, so 6-5 leaves a shot, and that is enough to clear the play.
Mm-hmm.
The right idea is just 2 from 5 to 3, leaving no immediate shots, shot leaving numbers.
Yes. So there's a couple of conflicting things here, because usually you prefer to have the wave formation it kind of starts the clearance from the rear, and you put an optimal spare checker distribution. But as you said, this has a couple of shot leaving numbers, while the other play doesn't. It's a 0 position, as Michi calls it. It doesn't have any blood leaving numbers. There is a little bit of structural weakness here. The formation you have is kind of like the opposite of a wave, which is not too nice. And if you roll a 4, you're probably going to play 4 the checker from the 4-point off, and now you have an inner gap on the 4-point, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just going to play 5 to 1, depending on what you get. Anyway,
I think you play 5 to 1 with most boards, and save the spare on the 4-point.
Probably. Just visually, it doesn't really look as good, but as for tactical reasons, it is the better play. Obviously, it's very, very close. We're nitpicking here. We're talking about.
Oh yeah, they're all very. Yeah, these are close technical plays.
Yes. Okay, so now I'm fasting forward here. Mochy gets the miraculous hit, the turnaround shot, and now he's in a containment game situation, which actually in this format where you get 1 point for the PR, this is a good spot for Mochy, because he's going to get so many decisions here. Of course, given that he can make good decisions and cube decisions as well. And we actually saw that the Mochy's PR just kept glowing, and then at the end he took over and won the PR as well. So then the first decision here, the first flag, is right after the hit. Now Mochy's got Hideaki behind the 5', while Hideaki has 6 checkers off, and now there's a cube decision. So what do you think about, or was it the checker play, Bill, or was it the cube decision?
It was a checker play with the 4-3.
Okay.
Hitting play.
Okay.
You're going to hit with the 4, but now you have a 3 to play. And at this point, you have to start to think about a whole bunch of things. What's my game plan here? Mm-hmm. Your game plan, basically, once you've hit, your plan is to make the 8-point and keep him trapped behind a 6-point. That's job 1. But that's a long way off. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you have to do is to say, okay, generally I'm going to flood the outfield, like the 12, 13, 14, 15 points. I want to get checkers there so that A, I have the most number of shots if my opponent gets out to the 8. And B, I have the most number of point-making numbers that make the 8. Mm-hmm. So Mochy's got a long way to go before he gets there. But for right now, he wants to play 23-20 with the 3, so that if Ueda comes in with a 2-6 and gets out to the 8, Mochy has the maximum number of hitting numbers. He's 12 and 11 pips away, so he can hit with 6-5, 6-6, 4-4, 3-3. Mm-hmm. That's 5 numbers, and that's more than any other 3 is going to give him.
Yes.
And he's also obeying the other rule of these things, which is, now that you've hit, you want to get all your checkers on different points. Mm-hmm. So he needs to, it's a weakness in his position to have 3 people back on the 23. He needs to get off that point quickly. And it turns out 23-20 is most useful in that respect. I misstated the other moment. Playing 19-16 with the 3 actually gives you the most hits on the 8 if he comes in with a 2-6. It gives you 6 and 5. But it leaves your back checkers too far back. So
Yeah.
you got to blend those two ideas
Yes.
and come up with the fact that I also have to get off the 23.
Yeah.
So 23-20 is good enough.
You could say that maybe not in the if he rolls the 2-6 from the bar, you have more shots right now, but in 2 or 3 rolls down the line, you'll be much better off after you flooded the outfield and have that outfield coverage and flexibility.
That's right.
Okay, so then we get to another flag here. Actually, after Hideaki comes in with a deuce, and Mochy has a borderline cube decision. He correctly doesn't cube, and he gets rewarded a decision from Extreme Gammon, which helps his PR. And then he's got a 6-4 to play. Do you have anything to say about the 6-4, Bill?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the 6 is essentially forced. You've got to go 23-17 so that Ueda can leave shots with aces.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important. Hitting the second checker,
yes.
if you can do it, is very important. So you're going to give him a chance to do that. And you want to start that right away. And then with the last one, whether you play 20-16 or 19-15, it doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
You're trying to get all your checkers to your opponent's outer board, spread out on different points, so that now when Ueda rolls a 6 and runs, you've got the maximum number of shots, double shots, triple shots, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So the containment game continues here. So, like you said, we left the 23-point anchor to force the aces to be played with to 3-2 with a hit, and that's exactly what happens. And now Mochy is shooting at a second blot, and this one was actually a blunder not to cube here. So what do you think about this cube action, Bill?
Yeah, this is a pretty big blunder. If you hit the checker, it's game over, realistically. And even if you don't, you're flirting with a cube the rest of the way because he's only got 6 checkers on. Mm-hmm. So once you make the 6 prime, you're a big favorite. So you have to double before you hit the second check.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta
hurt you much if you don't hit it.
I got a question, Bill, because the first time I saw these types of positions where I call them like a post-late hit, for lack of better term. I don't know if anyone has a better term, but the positions where essentially one guy has checkers born off, the other guy plays a containment game, and now he closes him out. I learned from those positions for the first time in 501 backgammon problems, but that was a pre-bot era book. So how did you come up with the right courses or the right decisions in these positions, Bill? Did you do hand rollouts or?
I had done manual rollouts long before. I in my own head I called them post ace point games.
Post ace point games.
They tended to come out of ace points, deuce points, back games where somebody bears off a bunch of checkers, the other guy hits them, and the question becomes, when do you redouble?
Yes, in this case,
and
a post-deuce point game.
In the 70s and 80s, nobody knew the answer to that. It was everybody was just guessing. But I was sort of fascinated by them because there was a simplicity to them. You know, they come up often enough, and you'd kind of like to know what to do, and they're kind of elegant. So I had done a few manual rollouts, and I had the idea that your redouble was going to come when you had either 5 fewer checkers off than he did, or 4 fewer checkers off than he did. Mm-hmm. Those tended to be the places where you found the redouble takes. But like I say, I had done manual rollouts. You know, we did them because we had to do them. There was no other way to get knowledge. But you couldn't really trust them all that much. You were aware that you had a big error rate. Mm-hmm. But I was writing 501 in 1997, and Jellyfish was now out. And although I didn't entirely trust Jellyfish in complicated middle game positions, it handled post ace point games just fine. Mm-hmm. Because there's not that much strategy to this. You can do what you're more or less forced to do. So that whole chapter in 501 was based upon, you know, dozens and dozens of Jellyfish rollouts.
Okay. That's so interesting.
I've never had occasion to revise it because it turns out that's everything in there is pretty close to being right.
Yeah, exactly. I followed that rule ever since I read that book the first year in my backgammon career, and I haven't changed the rule ever since. So yeah,
okay.
It was pretty good. Okay, cool. Let's get back to the match.
Yeah, so he has to double when he has the shot.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big swing. Volatility is present. Yeah, it's kind of weird he didn't double, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
I
then he
thought so
gets,
too.
then he's quite
Especially
unlucky.
at the match score, because he's going down 4-0 if he loses this game at best. Sometimes he gets gammon, so
Yeah,
yeah, that makes the double even clearer.
it makes it even clearer. Yes, yeah, he can be more aggressive, and it kills the gammons of the opponent. And then something really unlucky for Mochy happens that he fans, and so does Hideaki. So now
And
he's
then
gonna
his opponent can't move.
yeah. So now he gets twice the price of the same blunder.
Okay.
But he does get an interesting checker play here with 5-3, or at least a technical one. So what do you think about this checker play?
Yeah. He comes in on the 20. He's going to stay on the 20 for this turn, even though I said one rule in these positions is you don't want any two checkers on a point because you need maximum flexibility. But he can't move that 3 because it goes to the 17, which doesn't give him any more flexibility. So owning the 20 does have a big payoff here in that it blocks your opponent's double six.
Oh yes. Good
So
spotted.
now you're down to, do I play 21-18 or 17-14? And 21-18 gives you more triple shots. Or at least it gives you, it gives you a couple of triple shots. If you roll 6-5 or 6-4, 21-18 is going to give you a triple shot. If you roll 6-3, you only have a single shot, but then you have lots of combination shots. So that's almost a wash. It's another close play, but it turns out it looks like 21-18 slightly better than 17-14, but again, not a big deal. Yes. 17-14 at least gets you double shots on all his sixes, so that's nice.
Yes. Yeah, I think you
oh,
said
except
well.
6-1.
It
still get you a healthy number of shots on 6-1, but you can't do anything about that.
Yeah. It's just we can just follow the concept here that you want to just spread out and get as much outfield control as possible. Maybe Mochy was looking at some
wants
taxes.
his checkers on the 14, 15, 16, maybe the 13 points, because he also wants a chance to make the 8. So anytime he can see that he's set up a combination to make the 8, that's good.
Actually, Mochy does have a combination here. After Mochy's played double sixes, it makes the 8 point. But I guess that does it anyway, right? Yeah, it does it anyway. Now it just comes with 2.
As long as he stays on the 20, double sixes will always make the 8.
That's right. So there's not much there. Yeah. Okay.
But right now he's got 2 good numbers, double sixes and double fives, which doesn't make the 8, but at least pushes Ueda away from the edge of the opponent.
Yes. Okay, then that was actually a 25 millipoint error according to the rollout. Then we got this double 5. It's very close. I don't know if you have too much to say about this one, Bill. Top 3 players here are within 4 millipoints.
Yeah, you switch and make the 2, of course. So now he's not threatening immediately to come out. 20-10, which I think wins the rollout by some infinitesimal fraction. It obeys the rule you don't want 2 checkers on any 1 point, so that's good. It gives you a 1 direct number at the 7. 21-11, it's okay. It still gives you 1 direct number at the 7, but it does leave the 2 checkers back on the 20, which is now of no use to you. They're not going to ever block anything from there. So 20-10, you've got all your outfield checkers on different points. That's very appealing.
Yeah.
I would think that would be your default play in this situation.
Yes. Okay, another technicality here from Mochy with the 6-4. Here, according to XG++, he does find the right play. I haven't rolled this one out. But
he goes, he's going to go 11-7. You're going to slot the back of the prime if your opponent isn't, directly in range of it. And then the question is, do you want to play 15-9 or 14-8? 14-8 gives you, I think, 1 more cover number. If you have 14-8, you have all aces plus all 8s.
Yeah, so there's no
and
duplication.
They don't overlap, so that's 17 numbers.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, and if you play 15-9, you get deuces plus, so 12 deuces plus 6-1 and 4-3.
Yes, because 5-2 is now duplicated.
Yeah, so it's 17 one way, 16 the other way.
Yeah.
So very slightly more covers for the 7 the
Yes.
way Mochy actually played it.
So the concept here for the viewers to grab onto is that when you have a 5 prime and your opponent is not at the edge, you really like to slot the prime from behind. And then there was the tactical thing about counting how many numbers you get on the following roll to cover.
Right.
Very nice. Okay. And all this time, Mochy is having small cube actions. And actually, he could have shipped it at any given point. But in this format, he's actually gaining a little bit here because he's making micro mistakes, but it adds to his number of decisions. So he's actually doing well, not cubing. And then he gets this 6-2 in move 35. So he makes a small mistake here, Bill. What do you think about this move?
Yeah, this is a weirdly bad roll. You know, the natural play would be 20 to 14 and then something, but you know, so for some reason he.
Oh,
excuse me. That was my phone ringing.
Probably a viewer.
All right. Yeah, the natural play would be something like, you know, 20 out to 14 and then to 11 or 13, get more cover numbers. But unfortunately with 6-2, 20 to 14 doesn't do anything because there's no deuce that improves his situation. And if he moves the checker on the 14 with the 6 or the 2, he's on top of another checker. So he can actually generate a few more good numbers by going 14 to 6, which gives him 6-5 to make the ace. And if Ueda enters with an ace but without a 6, now he's picked up, you know, more numbers that can at least hit on the ace. So yeah, I think I think 14 to 6 is clearly right here.
It's slightly
20
more
to 12
constructed.
just doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here. Again, Mochy is having all these micro cube decisions, but then we get into an interesting decision here. Mochy. Okay, so you put a flag with the 5-2. Okay, so let me give you a chance to just talk about that position first, Bill. The 5-2 for Mochy.
Does it move 40?
Move 40, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Mochy has now, he rolled terribly for 2 or 3 turns, including the double 6. But now he finally got to this position. He just rolled 4-3. He had to put the 2 checkers on the low point. So what you want to look at with this is, okay, Ueda has 6 off. Mochy has 1 off. So he's within 5. And when you're within 5, the problem is that you want to look at the quality of your bear off versus the quality of your opponent's bear off. Ueda has a super fast bear off. Once he gets in and gets around, he's just taking checkers off. He's not going to miss. Mochy's actually not that well positioned because almost all his rolls open a point up. So that makes you not like Mochy's position quite as well as you might, and it likes you, and you like Ueda's position a lot. So this is not a position you want to double when your opponent has 5 more off than you do. Generally 5 off more than you do. In this case, 6 off versus 1 off. That's where you start thinking about doubling. But if you don't like the position, if your position is sort of not well balanced compared to what it could be, then you don't like it so much.
Yes.
And that's the case here. Mochy bears off slowly here.
Yes.
He tends to roll a number, he takes a checker off and shifts the other one, then he does it again. So he's not in love with his position here. Ueda's position, given what he's got, is great.
Yes.
So you skip the double here.
I'm just going to show the viewers here the variations that you're talking about, Bill. So here I'm showing the viewers where the spare checkers are on the 5 and the 6 instead. And Mochy has 6% higher winning chances here. So this is a redouble. And now I'm just trying to modify the spare checker distribution here with the 4-5 spare checkers. It's still a very small redouble. Put them a little bit deeper. Now it switches to a no redouble. So a spare checker on the 3 and 4, that's a no redouble because it simply, as Bill says, slows down your bear off. It's much better to have them on the higher points. Yeah, so Mochy...
Yeah, the ideal bear off to start with is a closed board with your spares on the 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
And then you rate to get a couple of checkers off before you open your board at all.
Yes.
What Mochy's got here is sort of a nightmare bear off for him because only 2-1 That's the only roll that bears checkers off and doesn't open any points in the board.
Yes.
But he's not happy here. So he skips the redouble, which is correct.
Yes, I think I said in the stream that his best numbers were 2-1 and 6-6.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so yeah, 5-2 is exactly one of those numbers. He only takes off one checker, and he has to play a checker from 5 to 3. And now
it's a good sequence for him. Yeah, because he bears off a checker, but he gets a spare on the 3, and then Ueda famous. So now he's within 4, and at this point your default is to double anyway, pretty much regardless of exactly what structure you've got. But he's got a very nice element here. The 3 spares across the 1, 2, and 3 means that all his low numbers bear off 2 checkers without opening another point.
yes,
And that's a big plus for him.
that's really nice when your low numbers all of a sudden becomes quite good numbers, because it's pretty good to keep a 5-point board and see if you can have him fan one more time.
That's right.
And what do you think about the take pass decision here? Was that a difficult decision for Hideaki, or was it pretty easy to see?
That should be pretty straightforward, because fives are a terrible number for Mochy, and even 4s get a little awkward. How do you play 4-1?
Yeah.
Like that. So he's got a lot of that. The gap is hurting. The gap is hurting Mochy. He made the correct play last turn with the 5-2, but the gap slows him down a little here and gives him some risk. So I think Ueda's double or take rather is very clear.
We can check I believe I said the take point was 24% over the board, but let's just check the Extreme Gammon match equity table. Yeah, it says 23.79%. So 24% take point here, which is a little bit higher than for money in a gammonless position like this.
Yeah.
So of course, yeah, it makes it slightly more difficult to take, but if you know your reference positions, then you probably could pretty easy find the take here.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and all of a sudden it's an 8 cube, and do we have any more flags? I don't think we do.
No, I think that everything else is forced. 3-1 takes 2 checkers off. Ueda comes in, and after that, you just roll the dice and see who wins.
Yes. Bill, I want to give the viewers a chance to write you some questions in the chat section. So if any of you guys have a question for Bill before we finish the stream, please write them now in the chat, and I'll be happy to share these questions with Bill. So Bill, just stay tuned, because we're just gonna see which questions are gonna come in. I'm sure that
No problem.
Cool. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna show you guys make a little bit of promotion here for Bet Galaxy. So Bet Galaxy is the new Bitcoin bookmaker that the Galaxy team made. It's a traditional Asian style bookmaker. It's got all the major sports except for my favorite sport, UFC, which is coming up soon. And so if you're into Bitcoin, or if you want to support Backgammon Galaxy, place your sports bets on Bet Galaxy.
Hey, what's the line on the Bucks and the Chiefs?
What?
What's the line on the Bucks and the Chiefs?
Let's have a look. So I guess that's when is it? When is the match?
Next Sunday. 2 weeks from 2 weeks. Week after next.
Okay, so that must be in the early market, upcoming, and okay, it's not even in yet. It's too far out.
Okay.
So let's have a look in 1 week and a half. Okay, so we got some questions coming in. Hossein Pagna had asked his prediction. Then I would ask Hossein his prediction of what? Okay, Max Urban's got a question here. How many books is he writing, and what are they about?
I'm about to publish part 2 of the opening book series. That's all written, and it just has to be delivered to the printer. This will have a red cover. And book 3 is already written. It has to be proofread and stuff. That takes a while, and typeset. So that can all take a while.
And book 3, is that about the opening?
Book 2 will be out shortly.
And what about book 3? Is that about the opening as well?
That's the last part. That's I think that's actually the most interesting of the 3. It's all about slotting and splitting and running and doubling where a blitz is not involved in the opening, and that'll be late this year.
I can't wait. I read your part 1, Bill. The virtual background is messing up the graphic here. Oh, now I got it. Yeah. So I can really recommend this book for the viewers. I learned a great deal. I tightened up my opening game, so I thought it was a fantastic book, one of your best books. So highly recommendable. Okay, another question. How much BG does he play in a week? Also from Max Urban.
Well, my BG now is almost entirely confined to Backgammon Galaxy, and I guess I play probably 2 or 3 matches a week.
Okay. And Reese Mack asks, what are your thoughts on Malcolm Davis?
Oh, I like Malcolm a lot. He was a terrific guy and an underestimated thinker. He was one of a group of players back in the 70s who didn't go along with the prevailing wisdom of very pure strategy. He played a very commonsensical game. He had great results. And like other players in that grouping, like Al Hodis is another one in this category, there were players back then who were having very good tournament results, but the New York crowd was dismissing them as, impure and sort of just lucky. And Malcolm didn't really care what anyone thought. He played his own game, and he was a good player for a long, long time. And he won a World Cup. He won the 5th World Cup. So plus he always beat me. His record against me was something horrendous, like 13-2. But I shudder to think about what it felt like to play Malcolm in a tournament. But and he was a great guy. I mean, he was full of stories and adventures and stuff. We miss him.
Yeah, certainly. I never got to meet him, unfortunately, but I read one of his books. Then we got Jeremy Scher asking, why does your book have 501 and not 500 positions?
Because my I didn't publish that. Cardozo Publishing published it, and my editor said, no, 501 has a ring to it. There's something magical about it that makes people more likely to buy the book if you've got 501 than 500. And so I said, well, okay, you know marketing, I'll put in an extra problem. Sure, no problem.
Okay, then we got Christian Monk Christensen asks, how does Bill like the development of the game towards focus on bot analysis and away from gambling?
Inevitable. People like to learn how to play the game, and when they play a game, they put a lot of time in it, they'd like to know more about it, and the bot is revealing to you how the game is played. Do I miss the gambling elements? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But this just happens. It's happening in chess, happens in backgammon. It's going to happen in any game that's analyzable by computers. So you just sort of have to say, this is reality. You have to go along with it and make the best of it.
Yeah. I mean, at least we're not at the stage where, and it probably will never be at the stage where humans can actually play perfect backgammon. The game is still slightly too complex for that to happen.
Right. And if you're a beginner, you've got an immense learning curve to travel up before you become a good player. So it's not like you don't have to do a lot of work. It's just a different sort of work.
Yeah. Then we got Sunet Argun Gench asks if you're planning to become a triple world champion.
Well, I guess would have been nice if I'd won the World Series of Poker at some point, but no, I don't plan to go back to Monte Carlo anytime soon. So I think I'll stick with this.
Okay. Then we got a question from BMAP International. So apparently that's probably one of the guys behind the BMAP federations. He asks, are you interested in participating in the UBC or perhaps playing some display matches, UBC style, against other top players?
Yeah, I'm interested. Sure. Right now, it's hard to say because with COVID and everything, and live tournaments still a ways off. It's just hard to formulate a plan. I'm just kind of using this year to write books and finish projects like that.
Yeah. Okay, so the last one here, Bill, from Simon Chama. What's your nick on Backgammon Galaxy?
It's a secret.
Okay, good. Okay, Bill, thank you so much for coming on. It was a true pleasure, and we've got so many viewers who stayed for the Grandmaster analysis, so that must be due to your popularity. So thank you so much, Bill.
I think it's due to the quality of the play here because they didn't know I was on or anyone else. So, yeah, but no, this is a great tournament.
Good.
Can't wait to see who actually wins.
Yeah, me neither. So they played.
By the way, this was match 7. What's the score in it?
The scoring was Mochy got 2 points here, so he's just down 2 points now. 8-6. We can show the scoreboard here in a moment for the viewers where they see the PRs as well. Hideaki is ahead in the average PR, which is going to be crucial if the final title match just ends up in a 12-12 draw. So Hideaki has an edge. He's ahead 2 points, and he's ahead on the average PR. But Mochy is now within range, so it's really exciting. Yeah, now we got all the thank you coming in. A lot of thank yous to you, Bill. If you like this section, guys, and you liked Bill's analysis, make sure to smash the like button to tell YouTube that Backgammon is a good thing to watch. And we're back tomorrow at the same time. Me and Nick Blasier to doing the commentary and a new secret grandmaster. Obviously, we can't reveal yet who the new grandmaster is. So that's gonna be exciting as well. A little extra treat with this style of show. Yeah, that was a short match today, but I hope you still liked the show we put on. And make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll be back same time tomorrow. Bye.